and the Portuguese, I guess, outposts too, like the Azores and Goa and Macau and all of these places. And then just in Portugal itself, there are different accents, there are different ways of doing things in North Portugal from South Portugal. Yeah, and it's a tiny country, you know.
And I hear there's a lot of expats there, especially along the coastline.
Yeah, believe it or not, there are some here in, right here in Braga. Although we only know one couple, and they're actually from Sacramento area. Okay, Fair Oaks, and where is he from? Napa. So we've met them, but for the most part, all of our friends are actually Portuguese, which is quite nice because it's a different experience than if you own. I mean, I do belong to an expat society just to have certain questions answered. But for the most part, we came because we already had several Portuguese friends, including one family that says they're our Portuguese family, which is really lovely. And because we had Portuguese friends, we keep meeting more Portuguese friends, including our plumber, he and his family have become friends. It's really wonderful. They're a very friendly culture. Very open, very warm, and I would have to say embracing culture. It's
Really?
quite nice, quite nice.
And you know, everybody in my family that I grew up in with has been to the Azores and has been to Portugal, except me. So I hope to change that in the next year or so.
Yes, you do.
Next time I go back to Europe, I definitely want to go. So I see Laura's online. Hi, Laura.
What?
Hi, good to be here. Always happy to hear about Portugal.
Laura, I just wanted to tell you that I really enjoyed your poems about your grandmothers. I go back and when I have time, I go back to these videos that Rick takes and then gives the site to go listen. And I really enjoyed your poetry very much. It's been a busy week, so I just didn't have time to let you know that.
Well, thank you. I'll take it anytime.
Sure.
And I was telling everybody, Laura, that I was hoping that you would share some of poems from your new book.
Okay, it's not so much about Portugal, but I'm happy to share a few.
Okay, sure. We have a board meeting coming up this next Saturday, and looking at a number of things. We're going to be talking about the new contest that will be just coming up very shortly. And we're also looking at revamping our website. We want to bring it out of the 80s and bring it into the 21st century. So lots of changes, and I've been talking to lots of people, a lot of web designers and stuff. And so I'm not sure what we're going to have yet, but I'm hoping it's going to be pretty cool. It'll be a fun place to come to again and again and again.
Great. It's wonderful that you put all this energy into really making this happen, because it's just such a wonderful source to come to.
Well, you know, it was actually at the Heart Center. I went to go see, used to write some poetry in high school and college, and, you know, nothing serious. And when Steve and Sue Daly were going to do some poetry readings, and I went to sort of be supportive. And then I ended up going to the Heart Center with Doreen, who's now with us here today. And it was like, I just got bitten by the bug again. And I'm very thankful and very grateful to the Dalys to reintroducing me to poetry.
Right.
And then it was Norma Cahoot who encouraged me to attend the board meetings. And then suddenly I found myself the president. I'm still trying to figure that one out, how that happened.
Isn't Norma wonderful? I cannot get over what a fountain of joy she is. so much energy. I mean, and how old is she? She's in her 90s and she's just going,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, she was one of the featured readers, so we had a little sort of like a little tribute for her. 'Cause,
Yeah,
yes,
I watched that. I watched that and listened to her. Yeah.
yeah, I can't. My mom is 98, and she really can't put two thoughts together barely. Although she can still hurl an insult or two. But Norma's just, yeah, she's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Hi, Ken. You guys, everybody can unmute themselves for this part. And here's Allegra's coming online.
Hi,
Hi, Ken.
good to see you all. I expect there'll be more coming.
We don't see you yet. You have to turn on your camera.
I know.
I don't see Laura.
Let's start video.
There we go.
I heard Dan Williams read something yesterday. I thought that was with gestures. I thought he did a great job.
Oh, thanks, Ken. Appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to have to try that gesture thing again today, just to keep it going.
Mhm.
Where did Laura go? I don't see her.
I'm here.
There you go.
Oh, there. Okay.
I can see it.
I
I'm the
guess I'm
one.
only seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 little boxes.
So if you go to the upper right-hand corner, there's a view. It says view.
Oh, okay.
And you can get different, you can like see everybody at once or have a default to whoever's speaking, which a lot of people do.
There we go. Doreen. Hi, Doreen. Great to see you. I listened to your poetry too, as you well know, because I think I got in touch with you. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Doreen's a wonderful poet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely stunning poems.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She was one of our readers. She was one of the readers some time ago too, recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched that.
beautiful poetry.
I miss the group so much, Doreen. Both of them have been such highlights in my life, and I only went for a couple of years, but what a difference it made. Yeah.
So people, we're going to start in a couple minutes, but if you want to unmute yourself and just chat, go for it.
I just want to say hello to Allegra. She's another one I miss, and I've listened to her poetry. But I just see a big scarlet A. No.
There she is.
Oh, there you are. How are you?
Good.
I've been enjoying your poetry online too. I always have to see it secondhand though, because there's an 8-hour difference here, and so it's 5 after 8 here p.m. So, and when all of the classes meet, like the Tuesday night class, it's like 3:30 in the morning the next day.
Wow.
So, but anyway, good. I'm glad that we have this.
Okay, so we'll start. Elizabeth Varadan is a former elementary teacher who writes for both children and adults. She was born in Reno, Nevada, but her family traveled a lot, mainly in California, so she considers herself to be a Californian. She has published works for children, including an MG mystery, Imogene, and The Case of the Missing Pearls, a picture book, Dragonella, and a collection of stories for children ages 7 to 70, The Carnival of the Animals by Belanger Books. Her poetry has appeared in the Song of the San Joaquin, the Ophidian, Brevities, the Stray Branch, Vine Leaves Literary Journal, and Poems for All Little Books. And her poem, Return to India, was selected as an International Merit Award winner in the Atlanta Review in 2017 in their international poetry competition. For years, she and her husband have divided their time between their home in Sacramento, California, Braga, Portugal, and Tresulfe. Is that how you pronounce that?
That's it, Tresulfe, yeah.
Galicia, an autonomous region in Spain. Recently, they moved to Braga and Saudade,
Saudade.
and that's sadness. Right?
Sorry?
So saudade, that's longing, isn't it?
Longing.
Like
Well, yeah,
longing.
yeah.
Yeah, my mom used that word on many times. That's why I didn't recognize that till just now. But she used to say that, that she would use that word, that and Mindish and Eisazuj and many things. Okay, back to the list of 30 poems of longing, published by Finishing Line Press, published in 2020. It's her first chapbook. Currently, she's working on a mystery series set in Braga, Portugal, and a second chapbook of poems about Galicia, Spain. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Oh, Arlene is there. Oh, good. Hi, Arlene, whenever your picture comes up. So is it time for me to
It's
start?
time.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the book, Saudade, 30 Poems of Longing. And it's basically about saudade. Saudade is a very special term in Portuguese, and it's more than longing, actually. But my first poem describes what saudade is. A yearning for what was lost, what could have been, but what was stillborn. A reaching for the unreachable, what cannot be, but might have been. Oh, the unattained and the unattainable. Oh, the trembling hopes and dashed dreams. Saudade. So that's Saudade number 1, and I have 4 poems about saudade.
Yes.
Okay, one of these is ancient Greeks. Ancient Greeks knew saudade. Heraclitus understood you cannot enter the same river twice. All is flux. The past permutes into a vanishing point. Nothing can be as it was. Zeno's Achilles still cannot overtake the tortoise as they race toward an shrinking infinity. The future beckons, we advance, but the distance cannot be closed. No return, no arrival, only saudade. Saudade number 2. Saudade can take you by surprise. Sudden memory in the midst of laughter can twist the heart, casting shadows into the future until hopes lie with folded wings, their flight denied.
Nice.
Okay. This
For
one's
those-
called.
Just a second. For those who may be here for the first time, often since people are mute, most people should be muted. And if you could, sometimes people wiggle their fingers or clap, or you could use the reactions button on your lower bar to sort of indicate that you liked it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This one's called Burning. Another day burns away, the page curling at the edges. Gray creeps toward the center. Lost sentiments rise in smoke wisps, old messages that once were plans. They vanish, word by word, fragmenting, scattering into the air, where each letter flutters an inarticulate yearning of the heart. Okay, this is called Doors. When one door closes, another opens. Which door do you close? Which do you open? Do you turn your back on a past shaped by moments of meaning? Leave it behind to leap the precipice of promise? Do you close off a future of beguiling dreams to cherish familiar ground laced with memories? Loss and longing lie across each threshold. Thank you. This is my troubled land. My troubled land afflicts my heart. The body politic is crucified by daggers of hate, leaving a wake of pain and sorrow in the name of faith. My troubled land grieves my soul. Seams that once held firm are slit, the social fabric torn by credos that condone heartless destruction. My troubled land gives me anguish. Scenes of tyranny abound. Fissures web the nation. The greedy mock those in need and those who care. Weep, my troubled land. I long for better times. Weep. This is on a similar theme because saudade is often about loss. The loss of my land. I lament the loss of my land. Sometimes land is taken from you, but it can vanish before your eyes by degrees. The land of my childhood is vanishing, nibbled and crippled by a deep soul disease. Those who cared for others are scorned, compassion smothered by hate, fear, and greed. I lament the loss of my land. If my heart is heavy, if my heart is heavy, it is because the powerful shrug off tragedy afar when once they would have been moved. If my heart is heavy, it is because cynicism greets the innocent, scoffing against the efficacy of love. If my heart lifts, it is because protagonists in this sad fado struggle for justice to prevail, for fellowship to heal, for heart to meet heart once again. And a fado is a peculiarly Portuguese song that usually epitomizes saudade, but they also have cheerful fados too. But for the most part, when you think of a fado, it's about very serious longing again. Okay, this is, do I have that? Is that the one? I marked these. Okay, dreams. Dreams are golden edges of despair's cloud. Hope lines the periphery, gleaming, beckoning, reminding us that while hidden, beyond lies the longing that never fades. Oh, wait a minute. This is night. Night falls, drawing a curtain across another day of longing for a kinder vision. The moon travels its lonely path, lost among stars. The stars keep their distance in the dark, silent night. Constellations wheel round in the abyss of space, and I, at the window, yearn for signs of promise in the new break of day. And then I don't know how I'm doing for time, so just tell me, Rick. This is Saudade number 4.
You're
I
fine.
didn't read number 3 because I didn't think it was as interesting. Okay, Saudade number 4. A barren heart has given up longing. Loss can carve your soul, leaving unhealing wounds. Yet the harrowed heart longs for seeds of hope to be sown, for the plant of bounty to flourish. Saudade can keep the heart dormant, waiting to trust again. And I wanted to also read a few poems, or maybe a couple, depending on the time, from the book I'm working on called Dreaming of Galithia. And Arlene and Doreen and Allegra, you've actually helped me with some of these poems because I took them to the group. And so I don't know how much time I have because I think there's also somebody else is going to read.
You have plenty of time.
Okay, well, Galithia, in some ways you could consider Portugal north. It's the northeast corner of Spain, and it's an autonomous region in Spain that originally everyone spoke Gallego, which is like has the same root language as Portugal. They're often like cousin languages or sister languages. They have a common root, and they share 85% vocabulary, actually, though they may pronounce things a little differently. But so it's been very helpful because it's really helped us out in Portugal. Because when we were in Galithia, we used to go to Galithia for about 17 years, and we had a little restored house in a village called Trasulfe, okay? And a lot of the signs are in Castellano, but which they call Espanol, but it's the official language of Spain. And a lot of the signs are also bilingual in Gallego. And some of the words are the same, you know. So the book is called Dreaming of Galithia. And so the first poem is Dreaming of Galithia. I dream of Galithia of an April morning. I walk down a wet, rutted road behind a flock of sheep. The shepherd prods them with a crooked staff, calling, Toma, Toma. Neighbors call greetings, Bos dias, Buenos dias, Buenos. Cuckoos send echoes through the woods. I dream of a rain-washed morning with gorse gleaming through a gray haze, Spanish broom fans and white sprays, daisies dot fields like mislaid stars, clouds rise in the lower vale, lapping up slopes and gauzy waves. In memory, the cloud rises and rises still in dreams, like mist into the day. And the words toma actually means take it, but it's used idiomatically to hustle a flock of sheep along. And Bos dias is good morning in Gallego or Galician, and Buenos dias, good morning in Castellano, sometimes shortened to just Buenos. Number 2, Vendimia. Vendimia is the wine harvest in the fall. In fact, it's a little late this year, but they had it earlier this month. Knobby arthritic hands sculpted by years of planting, weeding, picking rocks from dirt, now reach for grapes. She kneels on the stony ground by the grape arbor, as if a devotee before an ancient shrine. How many years has she picked the small fruits, filling pails, to be later emptied into a crusher, then the vat? My broken Spanish saves me from asking useless questions. Her eyes tell me this answer, centuries. This is Roadsides. Were it not for the small woman with hat-shaded face, herding cows, calling para, para, and prodding them with her walking stick? Were it not for the wild broom, lush in yellow, edging the slopes, while frenzied cuckoos call from hidden places in the woods? Were it not for the man on the tractor calling Buenos dias, que calor, eh? Were it not for all of that, these could be the roadsides of home. And para means stop, and Buenos dias, que calore just means good morning, what a hot day. Ghost moon in Trasulte. Outside the Galleria window, morning light tinges the far hills golden. Above the horizon in the ice-tinted sky, the round ghost of last night's moon lingers. And in shadowy woods, unseen, a lone tuneful bird pours out a fado of bird longing. Pulpo at the feria, and feria is like the market day, okay? Tables and benches beckon, a woman beside the copper pot stirs the boiling octopus, snips tentacles in rounds into wooden bowls. Her husband takes them to a table, lavishes olive oil, shakes pimento picante to taste. A waitress brings crusty bread slashed for easy tearing, a bottle of red wine, tumblers. People come from nearby villages to shop and exchange gossip, then meet friends and relatives at the tent, greeting one another with exclamations, hugs, a kiss on both cheeks, an invitation to join a meal, which is more than bread, more than wine, more than the aroma of hot olive oil, more than pulpo speared with toothpicks. The air fills with joyful chatter with each new bite and every sip. Voices explode in loving melody as if a choir has burst into song, as if an opera highlights a story of love and death, of toil, of journeys, weddings, births, letters from afar, the hard years mixing with fiestas, tenors, bassos, sopranos blending into a harmony of memory and news. And pulpo is octopus. How am I doing, Rick?
You're doing fine.
Time to wrap it up? Or?
About another 7 minutes.
Okay. This is the Roman bridge at Purelos. We parked and walked into the village, a stop along the pilgrim's route culminating in Santiago de Compostela. We were not pilgrims. We had come to photograph the Roman bridge. Trod by weary feet for centuries, its time-worn span, built to last on stone arches, a relic of antiquity above rushing waters, flanked by thickets, it beckoned, a dusty jewel set in green. After pictures, we leaned against the wall and watched sky patterns splinter in the water. And then we spied her downriver. A woman knelt on the bank, washing clothes, sheltered by willows, unaware of our stares. She dipped each piece in rushing waters, lathered it, pounded it on a rock, rinsed it, spread it on the grass and other stones. How patiently she labored amid green boughs and gurgling water with her rhythmic motions. We reached for our cameras. We paused, mesmerized after glimpsing her private world of cycles and seasons, of ageless tradition, from forebears, enduring and constant. We quietly turned away. This last is called Elegy for Ava. Ava. It's the Spanish pronunciation of Ava. Ava and Manolo were our neighbors down the lane, and their sister lived around the bend in the big house where she had born. She had never married, but she became ill with a pulmonary disease. So she moved in with Ava and Manola. And Ava was the caretaker. She took care of her ailing husband. He had everything, diabetes. I almost had that. And then I changed my mind, but anyway. So she took care of him, and she took care of her ailing sister. And then they passed away one by one within a very short time. And because she had been the caretaker for years, she passed away soon after. And it was so sad because they were like family to us. I mean, we just have had this experience in both Galithia and Portugal, where people take us in and we become part of the family. So we used to sit and sip wine and look out the window and all of that, and try to speak our broken Spanish, which was kind of an invented Spanish, really. But anyway, so this is called Elegy for Ava. And now you are gone. Someone else must come to feed the hens, gather eggs. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with this poem. Someone else must come to feed the hens, gather eggs, harvest grapes, scythe the grass, while decisions are made by a grieving family. Villagers endure the loss. You were the village angel. We too grieve, who once sat with all of you in the Galleria, sharing bread and laughter, gazing out at layered hills that disappeared into mist. I really thought I'd do a better job of getting through that. And that's it.
Elizabeth, thank you. So people, feel free to unmute yourself and might want to ask her a question or to make a comment, or if there was a particular poem that touched you.
I just want to say something, Mitty. It's so good to see you, and it's so good to hear your poetry. And I hear two different poets speaking here. The one who speaks about your home in Portugal, the one who speaks about her old home here in the States. And I really, it touches me very much to see someone hit right on how I feel about what's happening here. Thank you very much for your beautiful poems.
Thank you. Thank you, Arlene. Great to see you again.
I really wish I was in Portugal when I hear your poetry. I miss being there. I've not been to the area that you're in, and since you've read your poetry now, I think I might like to check it out. That area. I've only been
to Braga.
Yeah, and that's wonderful that you've been able to live there, and Portugal is a wonderful place, and sometimes I wish that I was there and not here for reasons that you read about as well. It was comforting for me to hear what you read. Especially, I loved your description of Sadat. It was a beautiful description. Sadat. It was a wonderful description. It was right on.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I am so grateful that I got a chance to hear you read today. Usually I'd been in rehearsal until 2 o'clock, but I got excused early today. So that was just a wonderful, wonderful gift. And I loved hearing your poems. They touch the heart. I just respond so much to what you have to say. It's so beautiful. And I miss you on the Tuesday night. So that's why I'm especially grateful. I'm especially grateful that I could be here and hear you reading today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Igualmente. Igualmente. Yes, it's wonderful to see familiar faces that have meant so much to me in my poetry.
I couldn't get here until way later, but I'm glad that I didn't have to miss your last poem. And the subject matter, I get that. It's so hard to lose friends, and
Yes.
it's very poignant.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's only poetry that can begin to convey the truth of loss, and the ones that
That was wonderful. Good poetry. Miss seeing you here in Sacramento.
Thank you. I miss Sacramento. I mean, we're happy we're here, but we were happy in Sacramento until we moved, so
Yeah.
For reasons in the poetry, actually. But yes, I love Sacramento and I love Braga. So I guess that's kind of lucky to love two places.
Yes.
Is it cool being an expat poet?
Sorry?
So I take it it's great being an expat poet, expat artist.
Well, we're very happy here. We've been to Braga many times before we moved. We thought about this over years, and we had a nice circle of Portuguese friends, which makes a real difference in how you can enter the culture. Because it's kind of like Galithia. Everybody knows somebody, and so you find out you're a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, which is quite nice.
Cool.
But I'm glad you made it. Thank you for all for coming, because I was thinking today it's such an odd time for you, and it's like, what if I give a party and nobody comes? So I'm glad to see familiar faces. Yeah.
It's Doreen. I just want to say it's really great to hear you again and listening to your poetry. We really missed that in our group. I'm just wondering what kind of foods you're enjoying right now. When you were reading that poem about Galithia and the octopus, I'm just wondering if there's a lot of fresh, I don't know how close they are to the ocean, if they have a lot of seafood there.
A lot of what?
Seafood.
Fish, octopus, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, we're vegetarians, but we eat seafood and fish, and there's a lot of. Interestingly enough, we like pulpo, we like octopus, and in Braga it's called polvo, and they fix it slightly different, but it's delicious. Polvo, but it's pulpo.
Can you speak a little bit about your children's literature, ma'am? Could you tell us, do you write books of poetry for children, or are they stories, combinations?
I have written a few children's poems, but my children's books are middle grade mysteries, and Carnival of the Animals is a collection of stories, which was great fun to write. It's based on Camille Saint-Saëns's musical piece, The Carnival of the Animals. So I took a story for each one, and my limit was that each one had to happen before he wrote that, because he introduces it and then it ends with the carnival. So each story has to take place before he actually wrote that. And it was great fun because they take place in different countries, and I had to do a lot of research. And but they're all fantasy. They're all fantasy stories. And but they're sort of multi-level too. Like they're at one level for kids, but adults hopefully can appreciate them. So.
Well, I can't wait to read The Swan. I've got to read that one. Actually, I can't wait to read all of them.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Yeah. Yes.
So
I'm glad you say that because it's my favorite book I've written.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
So I put a link in the chat for the Sodag book. And also the emails that I sent out, sort of notifying people of the meeting, I've included links for her other works in there. So you'll see the title of the book. And if you click on those titles, that will take you to that particular work.
Perfect.
Yeah, true.
Elizabeth, muito obrigado.
Oh, obrigada.
Many thanks. So next we have Laura Gillard. Laura has been one of our readers in the past, and she has a new poetry collection from Finishing Line Press, Fourth World Woman. Laura, tell us about your book, and we would love it if you would share some.
My book is different than my Kissing the Bee book. It's about a journey of a woman through cancer, and also a lot of, well, basically, again, which is the same as my first book, it's navigated by an unnamed she, or as a first person narrator. And in this particular collection, I identify with the natural world where plant, wildlife, and human emerge in a single voice. Shape shifting is not unusual. And I like to travel between dimensions and species, and my ancestors are drifting in and out as we go. So that's just a little bit of the themes that are in the book. And it's on for pre-sales right now at Finishing Line Press. And if you ordered now, you would receive it in the mail January 28th. So I can read a couple of poems from the book if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Well, I think I'm gonna, as you can see in my background, I have Day of the Dead is coming up, and I just finished doing some sugar skull painting yesterday. So I'm in that realm. And this is in my collection, Day of the Dead. Their voices call from the ground. Bones rise again into the air. Dust weaves through eye sockets and pelvic bones. We offer them sugar candy, sweet fruit, scent of flowers. They linger at the front door, float through windows, lurk down hallways, inhale candle fumes. Lights blink on and off. Through rooms they wander, drag a table, chairs across waxed floors. They are all here, bridge of beating pulse, arc of blood, to share the dark miracle. This is my first poem in the collection. It's called The Bitterness of Tea. She hides secrets from herself in the teapot, trimmed in gold leaf. Dried lavender, mildew, and old spores hover and haunt her. She stabs a spoon into murky leaves. In the teapot, she sees her reflection, remembers the pure brew of her past. Steam releases silhouettes from the spout, and vapors bring the windows to tears. Cup of chai with a little honey and mint leaves, a holy swallowing. She sees faces on plates of almond cookies, and her lips turn to sugar lumps. Slicing a lemon, she slices herself. Her blood spills thick. everything red before turning to Earl Grey. And I can read two more. One is our autumn, about the autumn season we are in now, although it's storming where I am right now. Leaves. I long for those birds, clouds of ducks and geese, their flight home, myself bound to earth, to these mountains. I watch leaves drop one by one, the distance between now and my future shortens. This October dappled with drizzle and dropped clouds, it's the leaves that fill me, the damp that gnaws the long merging shadows. I believe what thunder has to say, see with my own eyes, the spaces between the leaves fill with light. And for my last one, as a sample, coelacanth. Anybody know what that word means? Coelacanth. Okay. It's rather a fish that is extinct but alive. So it's still alive, but it's extinct. That's all I can say. And that's my last poem in this collection, Coelacanth. The Paleozoic ocean returns and water sparks leap into air. Hypnotized by glistening surf, she kicks off her sandals, lunges into a mysterious ebb. Cold currents move in her. She crawls up sandy shallows into the mercy of sunlight, a creature evolving. The earth too bright, too dry, shore covered with skeletal crabs, the grief of toxic turtle eggs. Gasping, she discovers not what she is, but what she has never been. Out of breath, gills and fins develop. Her bubble eyes glow, blinded by the sun's dazzle. Caught in a rip current, carried away into a dark abyss. The deepest part of her, extinct but alive. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. So people, feel free to unmute yourself. And by the way, and I've also put a link to Laura's book in the chat.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That last one was especially powerful, I thought. I love that last line.
Thank you. Yeah.
Several lines, but that one in particular I thought was a wonderful, some last lines are just the right one, and it was.
I enjoyed all those, especially the last one.
Well, there's a variety, and I do, on the second part, really get into some dystopian stuff. Yeah. More with the animals and humans becoming one and so forth. Kind of survival.
Wow.
Wonderful. So we're opening it up to open mic now. If you'd like to read, just put it in the chat function. Or you can wave your arms wildly too, I guess. Can I see a wave?
Here's one.
Arlene, I see a wave. I see Arlene.
Sorry, I couldn't find the chat part that you were talking about.
Oh, it's in the bottom bar for at least.
Yeah, I found the chat, but I couldn't find a place to put the poem.
I would just type, Arlene. I'd like to read.
Okay, consider it typed.
Okay.
Okay, this one's called In Passing. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of a continent, a part of the main. By John Donne. The skiff rides satisfied under star-pricked black velvet. Lapping tongued ripples slip under, gentle my small craft. Light streams from portholes, holes punched into the night. Luminescence pours over the railing, splashes onto wave tips, curls and breaks, tossing flickered shadows. Diesel fumes halo the stern light, shove at thick tidal base smells. The guttural throb of oiled engines surfs the wake of the midnight ferry, and passing moves my world.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, you're up next. Sure to unmute yourself.
Well, thank you for all these lovely poems today. I'd never thought about the world as it appears to a coelacanth, but that was pretty powerful. When I was a boy, I really loved mystery stories. Of course, I went through the whole series of the Hardy Boys, No Time at All. My favorite being the Cabin Island mystery. But also, I remember one that was called Danny Dunn and the Navajo Treasure Map. And I was about 12, I guess, and I didn't know anything about Arizona at the time. And looking back at it, I learned a lot about the high desert of Arizona and what to expect if one were to ever go there, simply by reading that simple story, which was a mystery, of course, which made it more fun for me. It was something that I would probably never forget. And that's probably why I enjoy mysteries to this day. And I just would encourage you to keep that up. There are a lot of children out there that really appreciate that sort of work. The poem I've selected for today is one of the poems that I've written about growing up as a boy in Stockton, California. It's called And Saudade. I was thinking about the Saudade, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, that you were talking about. And I'm looking at this poem, it does reflect that same sort of feeling. Billy in the space station. At the same time we were learning multiplication tables, 5th grade, circa 1957, Billy and I, for an art project, created a drawing of our plans for a space station. This, when the concept was unheard of. It was a joint project of the two of us combining our imaginations, and that was some combination. I believed after seeing a photo of a meteor caldera in Arizona that I could levitate and drift light as a cloud above it. He believed himself to be an alien human hybrid from 40,000 light years away. I wanted to be a chemist. He wanted to be a geologist. Our space station was shaped like the steering wheel of my dad's 1957 DeSoto. A round tubular access led by way of arms to the central mass, where the horn would be. We had room for bunks and cafeteria and a chem lab and geology locker for specimen and plants to scrub the air of carbon. I envisioned a round room with 360-degree aspects where a person could view the forever cosmos and write about it. I don't know what happened to the drawing. I don't know what happened to Billy. He disappeared from school the next year. I like to think that somewhere 40,000 light years away, there's now a space station where Billy sits, contemplates, and writes poetry.
Great, Dan. Okay, Jennifer, you're up next.
Okay. This was inspired by a Smithsonian article about monarch butterflies. And there were photos of monarch butterflies covering trees. Under the monarch tree, be still and watch the monarchs wake. Upon their dark and needled branch of fur, their black-lined orange wings together make a giant orange flower. Look how they stir. They start to flit to other branches here. Now listen close to sound of flapping wings. It's like they whisper words of welcome cheer. Enjoy our place of little queens and kings. They brush our cheeks and hair and foreheads too, but never stop upon a waiting hand. Come dance with us, just twirl and laugh on cue. But please don't step on us on our own land. We laugh with them, we whirl in secret fun, before they all glide off to rise with sun.
Nice. Thank you, Jennifer. Allegra, you are up next.
This poem is called The Wind. It's a series of 4 connected sequins. The wind teases the leaves, swirls them into a dance, then sends them scurrying into the street. Something catches the heart with the song of the leaves as they clatter away from me this day. When I hear their old song, remember your voice and will not fear the cold that comes too soon. Perhaps I too could be finding a song to sing, breath leading me onward as if the wind. Thank you.
Thank you, Allegra. Beautiful. Ken, do you have a poem for us today?
Yes, let me get organized here. I've got to find the view and stuff, and then I have to find my screens.
Okay.
Let's
So
see.
while you're doing that, I have one.
Okay, good.
This one's called A Day at Skilled Nursing. The soiled napkins and spoons clutched tightly in parchment fingers. A metal walker stands at attention. It beckons another walk on the carpet loop. Is that your mother? Nice. The query once answered resets. Love's currency of shared smiles between those bound by genes and history. Turning album pages to review Pilgrim's Progress as the face shifts from joy to confusion. Is that your mother? Nice. After a long silence, a quiet Hebrew prayer. A new flavored water is discovered. Applesauce, a secret unknown to foodies. As Pavarotti sings, the hand uplifts with each note. Her eyes closed as he sings for her alone. Alone with the other visitor, a hand is clasped and the shoulder leans in for comfort. End quote. Thank you.
Beautiful, Rick.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
That was wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay, Kent, you're up.
Okay, I'm good. By the way, I'm so happy to see some of my people I've known, old acquaintances or acquaintances that I've known for a long time. Allegra, hello. I appreciate so much remembering your reading for us in Alameda. And we hope we do it again. Anyway, I got to read for the Sacramento group along with our Alameda board members. And they wanted some, well, I forgot what they wanted. They wanted something from our group, but I had a list of poems that were all derived from famous works. And one I did is a tribute to Gillette Burgess, the great San Francisco humorist, publisher, and poet. And so this is the one. I call it Purple Squirrel. I have never seen a purple squirrel. I may never ever see one. If I do, it should be fun, for purple is really liked by girls. I've been working on a book on haiku, and one of the things I see is a haiku series. And if I borrow from the great haikuist, Japanese haiku Shike, he did some haiku sequences, which are a series of poems with a common link. So here is a haiku sequence. Our English haiku crucified on a cross of 3 rigid lines. Japanese haiku, the mora of the story, not some syllables. Our lovely phrases, not raised to be treated as some twisted sentences. So those are 3. I have some more.
That was really good.
It's okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Those were really great.
Oh, thank you. Jump at Jehoshaphat, it's good. The folk together all playing, their sound and rhythm all saying, here's mind and soul and spirit food. Creating joy as well they should, humanity's sounds conveying, jump at Jehoshaphat, it's good. The folk together all playing. How right for any picnic mood, our warm closeness there in vain. No heavy cares now our way, our family party time would jump at Jehoshaphat, it's good. The folk together all playing. And I got another one.
Okay.
I have many others. Anyway, this is a mess called Message. 20,000 that first day died, the machine gun's sharp message clear. But we had known for 30 years. We only counted on our side. The lesson heard, we then replied, the same again, and just as dear. 20,000 that first day died, the machine gun's sharp message clear. The value of those lives denied, passing in such terrible fear, the shock of spitting shells severe, suffered for a general's pride. The machine gun's sharp message clear. 20,000 that first day died. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. So I think I mentioned to you when you were reading the SAC Poetry Center, we'd love to have you and some of your other Alameda poets to be our featured readers. So I'll be in touch.
Yeah, I sent you a copy of the book. You should get it on Tuesday, according to the Postal Service. And so I look forward to what you have to say about that. Any criticism, comments, and so forth would be greatly appreciated. And so I'll see if we can get some other Alameda poets together.
Wonderful. We love it. So the Alameda Island poets?
Alameda Island Poets was a chapter of the California Federation of Chaparral Poets.
Yes.
When we still had chapters and before everything had collapsed.
Yeah,
and that was our famous Mary Rudge had that chapter organized back in the 1990s. And she kept it going. When she wasn't able to do it anymore, I became president, and I was president for a few years. And we grew it into a very good group. I went from about seven active members to 35 active members in our time. So we went from the smallest chapter membership in the state association to one of the largest, maybe the biggest chapter membership.
Well, you are part of a long and storied past with Chaparral. We're in the process of still continuing the Renaissance, and we hope to be making in the next 6 months some additional steps. I want to share that we had a very successful youth poetry workshop earlier this month. We had a great turnout. It was Sharon Smith, who's connected with the Sacramento Poetry Center, who's from Grass Valley, California. The next one coming up is going to be, and I'll send out an email on that. It's going to come up next month in early November. It's going to be with Grace Loescher. She works with the homeless youth. And the one in December is going to be Sarah Octay, who's been connected with this, also with the Sacramento Poetry Center. She is also has a doctorate in oceanography. She was one of our readers recently. And she is actually, she and her husband Len are going to be moving back to Massachusetts. And she will be presenting the youth workshop from Massachusetts. So I've seen some of her other presentations, and I'm just really excited with what we have to offer. So I'll be sending out some more emails about that if you know some high school, junior high, college students that might be interested. We're also, I'm going to mention again that we'll be sending out notices about the annual poetry contest. And I'm hoping that we will also, I'm not sure if we'll include it in this contest, but I'd like to see have some entries that are sort of mixed media, where people are setting poetry to video or to PowerPoint or to music or photographic images. Really want to be able to boost our offerings, as these recordings are being viewed by more and more people. We're going to be getting up the workshops up there also as well, and just redesigning the whole website. So we have a lot of things that we're looking forward to doing, and as we go forward and upward. Anybody else? Sorry for that commercial break. Anybody else have a poem that they want to share? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. This was just a wonderful time. So we'll meet again fourth Sunday. We'll go to the usual time on, this is I believe the November the 28th. Take care, and happy writing, happy reading.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah,
Great to
bye-bye.
see you again.
Thank you for sharing your poems. Thank you very much. Wonderful day. Wonderful.
This was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful session. Thank you all. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye all.
Elizabeth, special blessings to you.